Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily, Thursday Thoughts. Des here. Ready to answer your questions, ready to give some feedback on how my week's been so far, what I'm looking forward to, and just try and fill some time with some information, pass on some of the things that you want to know, let you know how I'm getting on with those challenges, which we spoke about in depth last week, and just sort of remain positive and enthusiastic about the things I'm doing. Hopefully that'll inspire you to keep attacking what you're doing and giving everything your absolute best shot. As ever, feeling really good as it seems right now. Really on top of things. Seems to have been a long time I've been feeling like this. I did actually start the week this week in a bit of a strange mood, but quickly sort of went away. Did a couple of things I enjoy doing. Really sort of got back into the running this week as well. And anybody who watches this knows that that's my real passion in life. Getting out, getting a good run in. Just completed my third 5K in 3 days. So really sort of starting to feel it. Whilst I'm still a little bit uncomfortable, still getting a little bit out of breath and not attacking it the way I'd hoped to. Of course, it's about building up steadily and not pushing too hard too soon, getting over injury, trying to get fit again. It's not a quick fix. It's not an overnight process. I've kind of been through this cycle many times before. So it's about taking it easy, doing things that kind of distract me from pushing too hard. And tonight, I just got out with the guys. We did a time trial, whilst I wasn't exactly running as fast as I can. I was encouraging the guys just to push on a little bit, just to stretch it out. A lot of them in recent weeks have done marathons, have done a lot of running. So it was about just sort of seeing what they've got at the moment and then trying to sort of build something around that. And that's just a perfect sort of metaphor for everything, really, isn't it? Working from that solid base that we try and build ourselves. And like I say, this week it's pretty much been that. Monday, it could have gone either way, feeling frustrated with one or two situations. But the reality is that having felt great for so long now, it's quite easy to sort of continue in that positive vein. It's not easy. You have to work at it. You have to give it your best shot. But that's what I'm doing, and by having lots to look forward to, lots to be busy with, lots of running to get my head stuck into as well, and then how I do all that, it's just helping me sort of move from one situation to another, and that's exactly what it feels like. It's been a pretty manic week, and it promises to be another manic weekend. I'll talk more about that on Wake Up to Walk tomorrow. But what I'm going to do this week, before the throwback question, I'm going to just touch on, and I'll probably make this a little bit of a feature in coming weeks, just touch on those challenges and just let you know very briefly how I'm getting on with each. Again, I always talk about adding a little bit of accountability. The reason I sort of let people challenge me, even though some of them I don't really want to do, is because I want to just see what I can do. Just give it my best shot on certain things, and when I say I'll do it, particularly through something like this, particularly when someone else has set me the challenge, I'll definitely give it a go. So just to run through those quickly, no takeaway coffees until the end of the year. This was probably my least favourite. I've not had any takeaway coffees this week. The hardest time for me is a Friday morning after my Wake Up to Walk episode. Got into a routine of having a Costa coffee and a croissant, something to kind of look forward to for getting up. I always talk about finding the positives in everything. So that one's been pretty hard, but I've managed it. I've replaced it with tea, mainly, even fruit tea. It's not the nicest, but of course for one or two of the others that helps as well. Run a sub 27 5K. I'm not anywhere near that just yet, but again, I've just mentioned I've run 3 5Ks in a row, 3 days in a row. The injury is holding up, a little bit stiff around where the injury was. So, like I say, I'm not pushing on, but got plenty of time to do that one. That one's before the end of the year. The quickest I've probably run is about 29 minutes this week. So not a million miles away. And I did feel tonight, to be honest, I had a little bit more to push on. but that's one to work at before the end of the year. Get 200 subscribers on the channel. Well, that's down to you guys as well, isn't it? So please subscribe. Please get your friends, your brother, your sisters to subscribe. Don't even have to watch it, although that'd be great as well. So help me do that. I'll do what I can in terms of pushing the channel. That, of course, comes from Mr. Daw, who's absolutely smashing it right now. I think he got about 4 million yesterday. So if I can have a few of those, I'll be happy. Just on that, I think last week when the challenge was set was on 159. It's now up to 163. So getting there, 37 to go to get to the magical 200. Ooh. But I'll keep working at that as well. This is something I work at every day, so really sort of just doing what I can with it. The nature of the conversation is not easy. It's not something lots of people sort of get behind all the time. There's a bit of stigma behind sort of talking openly and outwardly and talking about mental health and encouraging activity. So I kind of understand where I'm at with this, and it's going to be a slow burner. I've said many times, without any disrespect to anybody else, if the subject was a little bit different, if I was talking about television or if I was talking about football or all these sort of popular subjects, it'd be quite easy for me to build them. But this is a difficult one, and the reason I'm putting myself out like this is because basically I accept it's difficult. I've got a real passion to make some sort of positive change with this kind of subject, and men, and not just men, but men of a certain age, showing them that you can be comfortable, but anybody really, just to sort of look in and see that somebody else is doing it, somebody else is living a lived experience, So hopefully, like I say, we can work on that. I appreciate it's slow, but hopefully I can get there before the end of the year. I'll keep plugging away. You do your bit too. Do 5-part ones you haven't done before. Not actually done any of those 5 yet. I've got a new one next week, mind, not this coming week, but next week. So that'll be starting to tick that one off. That's before the end of the year as well, and that was probably my favourite, in all honesty, because I love getting to new part ones. So sort of setting me a challenge around that. That's absolutely brilliant. It just shows you can set light-hearted challenges as well. A lot of the time we talk about trying to be better, trying to be fitter, healthier, mentally strong. But that's just one that I can go out and enjoy, and tick it off as they come. Lose on average £2 per week before now and Christmas. Good start to that one. I've actually lost £4 this week. I weighed myself last week and then again this morning, and I've lost £4. Of course, I've spoke a lot about sort of being injured and how rather frustratingly I let myself get a little bit unfit, out of shape. Someone who struggles with my weight, somebody who knows that I can lose weight. I've mentioned many times the start of this whole sort of running, self-development thing was all based around sort of losing weight. So I know I can do it. Between now and Christmas, £2 a week, kind of ahead of the game, aren't I? If I've lost £4 this week. So quite surprised I've lost that much. I have made an effort, particularly during the week, but sometimes at the weekend, and the social sort of activities I do, it's not so easy. But I've made a real effort not to sort of drink so much, to eat slightly better, and the results are starting to show, and that's all we can do, isn't it? And they always say it's probably a little bit better to lose it a little slower as well. So yeah, ahead of the game on that one, and that's probably the one I've got to work hard, is that. Yeah, so that's that. If you've got any comments on any of that, please drop them in. Any sort of challenges you're working on, I'd love to sort of get any comments and post them up now. I'll try and read them out if you've got anything to add. Love the sort of interaction. That's what Thursdays are all about. I'm trying to sort of create a two-way conversation. Again, it's a bit of a slow burner, getting people to get out their comfort zone. But believe me, when you do, it feels absolutely great. And on that kind of subject, it leads nicely into what's the one thing you find difficult. A lot of people obviously find talking difficult. And I've already touched on the fact that talking openly, is something I'm trying to do here. I don't find it easy. I find it really difficult. But in this respect, I was kind of looking at those challenges you set yourself, where it can be a real struggle. Do you know, I'm a pretty determined guy. I think I'll really sort of, when I say I'm going to do something, like with most of those, I'm working through and various other things. I go on running streaks. I do sort of marathons and all sorts of things. Do you know, I spoke about a million times. Pretty determined at the things I do, but I really struggle with getting up early. Do you know, one of the targets I set myself, which wasn't on that list, was to get up by 7 o'clock every day. And whilst I've not got out of bed, I've been awake at 7 o'clock every day this week. So that's a start. That's a small sort of win. But you see the difference in the kind of accountability that's only for myself. The rest of those I'm definitely going to do because they're for everybody else. But I'm still determined to do that one. Still determined to crack it. From day one to do daily, I've been talking about this, and I go through waves of managing it. And that's what I was trying to sort of get to with that throwback question, is what's the one thing you kind of challenge yourself to, which you find really difficult? And the first sort of response to that was from Kay. She drinks a lot of Diet Coke. She knows she drinks sort of too much and on a daily basis. And she tries to give it up. She tries to restrict herself, you know, through some of the things I've suggested through DOdaily and creating challenges, creating targets. You know, some of the coaching, we look to set monthly targets and things like that. And again, just like me with the sleeping, she goes through periods where she does really well, and then something will kind of knock us off our perch a little bit, and she struggles a little bit. So that's hers. Dawn says, running. You wouldn't believe it if you'd just been out by the River Trent. I ran with Dawn this evening. Part of my sort of part of the course today, part of the coaching, was to sort of get the guys running. Like I say, Dawn has been sort of eagerly looking at that sub 30 for a long time. And the reason she says running is because she says she still finds it difficult. You know, she's been after that sub 30, but tonight she absolutely smashed it. 29 minutes, you know, took over a minute off a PB. You know, so somebody who again is showing lots of determination to crack something they don't find easy. Dawn's kind of got into running because Ian, a partner, does it. You know, so, and that's not a bad reason to get into it. It's just sometimes we want to enjoy something the same, but we just can't in the same way. But I'm sure the more she keeps achieving like that, you know, that enjoyment's going to come, and once that sort of penny drops, you know, there's no stopping us. And hopefully tonight is a classic example of how it can quickly change, you know, and you can just click into gear. But well done for the PB tonight. Well done for the sub 30. I'm pleased with that. You know, I got to run with Dawn, and I get to coach Dawn. So that's kind of a feather in my cap as well. I'm not taking any credit for it. Dawn was absolutely amazing. She has to put the consistency in. She has to put the hard work in. You know, and it's her legs that do it at the end of the day. And I know how hard it's been for her. So absolutely well done. And Ben says, stay motivated. You know, I think we all have a bit of a problem with this, don't we? You know, from time to time, it gets difficult to stay motivated for certain things. I've already said, you know, when I'm injured, you know, some of my eating and drinking habits get a bit out of hand. You know, I start doing the wrong things because I think, oh well, I can get back to it. Probably a little bit complacent of knowing I can lose weight, knowing I've done it before. Has always been just a thing now where when I really set about it, I can do it. But there's times in between where we can't. Ben says, just sometimes, you know, sticking to the things he wants to. He said running, which is rather bizarre because Ben does more running than anybody I know. But eating healthily, you know, doing the chores, I think that's one we put to the bottom of the list, isn't it? And sometimes that thing that is at the bottom of the list is the hardest one to get done. I spoke about that earlier in the week, actually. I think it was Tuesday when I'd been feeling rubbish on Monday, and then I got up on Tuesday morning and I was just so determined to get some of these jobs that were playing on my mind, that kept pushing to the bottom, done, because I knew once they was done, I'd get into the good stuff, get into the enjoyable stuff. And sometimes that's possibly the way to approach it. You know, it sounds really bizarre, doesn't it? But if people are honest with themselves, I'm sure they'd admit this. You know, when you do clean up, I'm a little bit guilty of not doing enough chores. Kay will probably comment on that. But when I do clean up, I go to town on it, and then I feel kind of proud of what I've done, and I don't want to make a mess, because it's that thing of you've made that effort to do it. And that's what I'm kind of saying about getting those things done you don't want to. Sometimes, bizarrely, they put you in a better frame of mind. So it's just about sticking at it, Ben. And I know you're pretty motivated, so keep going at what you're doing. And Mark says, eating breakfast. And I think this is something a lot of people are guilty of, aren't they? I used to be, before I lost that weight the first time. Of course, I spoke about weight a lot today, but before I lost the weight the first time, I was really guilty not eating breakfast, believing that if I ate breakfast, that I would eat all day. But that's the point, isn't it? You're supposed to eat to get your metabolism going. Probably, what did they say? Eat like a king in the morning and like a pauper in the evening. Most of us are guilty of doing that the other way around. And the reality is, we shouldn't be eating too much before we go to sleep, and we're not doing activity to burn it off. Whatever you eat in the morning, whether it is quite a lot, you've got all that time and all that sort of work and effort getting out for activity, of course, if you can, to burn it off, and keep the weight off, like I've been talking about so much. So eating breakfast is really, really important. Like I say, it's something that I learned very quickly when I was losing weight, and I know lots of people still argue the fact that, and that's fine. I was one of those, but once you realise its importance, it's really, really important to keep up that good habit. But I definitely understand why it's difficult. Kay's made a comment here. He says, as I'm upstairs putting all the clothes away. See, I know I was going to get some sort of bollocking about that one. But yeah, hey ho. So that's the throwback, guys. That's the sorry, just get rid of that comment before she said something else. Dawn's made a comment now. The one was so hard tonight, but I'm buzzing to finally get that sub 30 mark. Well, I always say it's never easy. When you're doing something you've never done before, it's absolutely uncomfortable, isn't it? But if we don't push ourselves, if we don't get through these things, and I always say to the guys when they're coaching, if they're not sort of breathing heavy and we're like really feeling it, then we've not done what we're supposed to. It's about getting fitter. To get fitter, you've got to get out your comfort zone. So once again, well done, Dawn. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, and like I say, just those sort of things are just sort of ideas of where other people struggle as well. It's not, there'll be people out there who struggle with those things and perhaps think it's just them, and all I'm trying to do there is highlight that it's not just them. We all have a little sort of quirks, and you can have all the determination in the world sometimes, but if something's not quite working, and it can start pulling the other things down, and that's what I find with the sleeping, of course. Bad decisions, and one bad decision leads on to another, and then you might eat the wrong thing because you need energy. And that's all I'm trying to sort of do there with that, is just show how it can affect as well. So thanks for those, guys. Really, really appreciate the input. I'll get stuck into the questions now. I've got a couple of good ones to go at. A bit of variation here. Again, if you've got anything to add to any of these, just shout up, make a comment, and I'll see if I can discuss that as well. So Simon said, do you enjoy running on the treadmill? I'm sure this comes after last weekend, where I spoke about it yesterday on DOdaily on Wednesday workout, and put a little bit of a video on at the end. We're doing a fundraiser at the moment through Do Running, the running group I lead, where we're looking to sort of raise money for defibs. But the event sort of process at the moment is whenever Forest play, because the boot room, which we do the running club, is right outside the Forest ground. We're looking to run the distance from whichever club they're playing. So last week it was Blackpool. This week it's even further, Fulham, 130 miles. As a group, collectively, throughout the day, to sort of showcase Do Running, to showcase the campaign and to raise money itself, we're looking to cover that distance, and show football fans that what we're doing, and hopefully with the big crowds they can donate lots of money. Thankfully, last week the Forest faithful, the Forest family, donated £457. One Forest player in particular stopped as he was on his way past and made a significant donation too. So that was absolutely brilliant. But like I said, that involved running on a treadmill for hours and hours collectively. We did sort of hour stints or broke it down a little bit smaller and got back on, and I did my stint. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely not. I enjoy the fact that we're raising money. I enjoy the fact we're doing something quite epic. But for me, there's nothing like running out in the streets, out in the cold, warm, by the river. That's what it's all about for me. That's why I get so sort of frustrated when I can't do it, because I can't get out in the fresh air. I can't really enjoy my surroundings. Like I say, there was lots to be positive with that, but just the actual treadmill running, I found it really, really difficult. Probably more so the fact I realised when I got off it, I'd run 5K uphill initially, and I thought, wow, that was hard. Even in my unfit state, I thought that was particularly difficult. But I quickly realised that I must have caught the incline button and I was running uphill. So I don't particularly enjoy it now. Of course, I can understand why people do it. There'll be people out there who are a bit concerned on the darker nights, and any run's better than no run. I'd always encourage the activity. I always say on a Tuesday, for example, that it's great to actually get your activity in whichever way. Just feel part of like Tuesday training, even if it's not outside with the rest of us. Something, a home workout, a treadmill, an exercise bike, can be equally as effective. It might not be as interesting. You might not have the same sort of company or the fresh air or the blue skies or whatever sort of benefits that brings. But any activity is good, isn't it? And when you if you can do that sort of thing, if you can run on a treadmill, I was talking about determination and motivation before, I would find that really hard to do the kind of running I do on a treadmill that I do outside, So if you do that as you're running, and it works for you, absolutely sort of hats off to you, because it's not something I can cope with. It just feels endless, repetitive. Most people say that about running in the street, but then if you compare the two, for me, running on a treadmill, looking at the same thing for 30 minutes, an hour, is absolutely sort of mind-numbing. But like I say, we're doing it with a purpose. I'm going to be really positive about it again. We're doing it this Sunday. Looking forward to getting stuck into the 130 miles with the guys and all the guys from the running club. So it's a means to an end in that sense, but whatever works for you. If it's treadmill running, get on it, enjoy it, get the miles in. It's just not for me. Something I did learn actually when I was looking at the inclines of running, and I heard a comment at the running club last night. Someone said that you have to run uphill on a treadmill just to sort of level it off against the wind. It's actually a bit of a myth. You don't necessarily have to raise the treadmill. It actually accounts for a 0.7 mile an hour wind, which effectively is an air conditioning unit, isn't it? So if you're in an air conditioned room, that the balance of it being flat, is exactly the same. So it's a little bit of a myth, but there's a lot of people who believe, and I never actually picked the person up. I thought I'd mention it on here once I'd got this question. So just a little interesting fact there for anyone who does know about running on a treadmill. If you do know, or if you've got anything to sort of add to that, please add a comment. Dawn's come back in again. Treadmill running made her feel dizzy when she got off. Absolutely, it did me too. Not used to it again. I think what we probably did, and this is perhaps something to learn for this week, is we didn't really take heed of the slowdown. The reason the treadmill slows itself down naturally, and we should stay on it till that point, is to sort of just ease off, come to terms. So whilst the treadmill does that, it's probably actually our fault when you think about it. It will do that cool down period for a reason. And when you're out running, I'm trying to encourage it more and more through the coaching. It's important to warm down as well. So again, that's probably something to bear in mind when we do it again. But thanks for the comment. It just reminded me there. And thanks for the question, Simon. Question 2. This is from Kay, and she just asked me just before I come on. I thought it was really interesting. This this is becoming more and more popular, isn't it? How do you feel about the trial of e-scooters being extended for another year in Nottingham? Most places have got this now. We were led to believe when these came in Nottingham that only Nottingham and London had got these, but I've seen them pretty much everywhere, to be honest. And I know there's some legal ones and some not so legal ones. I've got no real sort of feeling on them. I have got an opinion, but no real feeling either way. I've not used one. I've not used one yet. I have been tempted to use it at times. The biggest problem I've got with them is the fact when people could walk a journey, they're likely to jump on these things because they're cheap and effective. If you're going a good few miles, absolutely no problem with people using them, as long as they use them properly. They park them up, they're not left all over the road, which we live in an area where the e-scooter border is, we live on the city boundary, and sort of e-scooters just get dumped because people realise they can't go any further, and you tend to find a lot on the floor and you have to run around them and things like that. So that's frustrating, but I can see their use. They're good for the environment. It's a massive subject at the minute, isn't it? And I just think it's one of those things that people are going to have to get used to. There's so much there's so much usage in cars. Again, living where I do, in a gateway to the city, the pollution at times, the traffic over the bridge. Nottingham's got a funny layout to it where the river actually runs south of the city, so crossing from one side to the other is really difficult. So these things can be really sort of useful, and for those that use them properly, so be it. They're helping the environment. They're probably getting to work just as quick sometimes in rush hour. They're cheap. There's so many pluses to them, but just use them properly. That's all I say. That I saw an article on the news about this, on the local news, saying that there was a few people saying that they shouldn't be allowed. But I also saw some archive footage of Nottingham city centre 40 years ago on a programme a few months ago, where they were saying that bikes would never take off. Bizarre, isn't it? They were saying that they shouldn't allow bikes in city centres and that they're getting in the way, and how will people be able to use their cars properly? And it's just about accepting change, isn't it? That's a lot of what I talk about on DOdaily. A lot challenges, changes, all these things we discuss. It's really sort of interesting that it's an interesting subject. It's one of those that divides opinion at the moment, but I imagine in 10 years' time that these things are just going to be so natural, like riding a bike, that nobody's going to talk about it. Doors in, thanks for sort of joining us. Already give you a shout out there, but let's get him to 5,000. I want 200. He wants 5,000. So follow his channel if you want to see enthusiasm and positivity, especially if you're a football fan. Get on Door on Tour. I'll post a link in the video as well, Door. So thanks for checking in. And then Ian's made a comment. People don't use helmets when riding them. Of course, that's important as well, isn't it? It's important, going back to the e-scooters, that people use them properly. Safety is paramount in everything we do, isn't it? And if you're using something like that on the roads, just like a bike, everybody should be wearing a helmet, because the biggest sort of bugbear people have got right now is that people are using the e-scooters on the pavement. They're actually designed to use on the road, so it's important to stick a helmet on, have some road sense when you're using them. You still got to abide by the rules, and Ian's exactly right there. That's where the frustrations come in. And Kay has come back in and says she thinks it's a good idea, but they've still got some evolving to do. Absolutely, it's what I said there, isn't it? Sort of the issues I just mentioned, what Ian raised, the parking, the storage of them and the parking, and how they sort of integrate in just the way bikes did. So like I say, in 10 years, they'll probably be the most natural thing out there. But a great question, something a little bit different. And that's what I'm always encouraging as well, isn't it? Just something different to talk about, again, just things we're all thinking about. When I ask people for questions, they get really uptight and they're like, oh, I don't know what to say. That's not a trick question. That's just me saying whatever's on your mind. We all ask a million questions a day. All I want is to sort of pick your brains and get a few of them, get a few of the things you've been thinking about, like I say, because it's all about sort of being relatable. I try and be honest with my opinion, even if it's not going to be popular, even if it's going to sort of potentially show me in a bad light to certain people, or even if it's just going to make me sort of get me out of my comfort zone. It's just about trying to sort of pass on things we all think about. So when it comes to the questions, if you've got anything, please pop it in the comments on any of the videos. Question 3. I knew it wouldn't be too long. What are your plans for Christmas, Dawn? Bizarrely, and I think I probably said this the same time last year, as it's only October, I haven't got any, none whatsoever. Got too much to do in the meantime. Of course, I'm looking forward to it again, because last year there was the COVID restrictions, and we haven't got those now. It feels like we can do all the things we did a couple of years ago, all the things, all the sort of routines and habits we love to enjoy, and that's what it's about, isn't it? It is the most wonderful time of the year, even though I don't like talking about it in October. It's a time to really sort of celebrate and have, like we have done with the running, like we have done with lots of other things, going back into football stadiums for me personally. It's a time to sort of reflect on what happened and how we sort of perhaps took it a little bit for granted. Make even more of it. I will be urging that later in the year. I'll be urging people to really sort of go at it, and I'm sure it'll drive lots of content in future weeks on DOdaily. And even Kay says she don't know what we're doing. Neither of us do, but we're really excited for it. And that's exactly how I feel. Like I say, because of those reasons, because it was cancelled last year. Not quite, but you know what I mean. They clamped down on us late. So, yeah, just really, really looking forward to it. In all honesty, we have started to turn our mind to it a little bit. We're looking to invite parents and things like that, because we can, and that's absolutely amazing, isn't it? So, but not too much. What I will say on that one, and Dawn's doing the event and Kay is as well, is I will start thinking about it come the end of November. We're all down as the running group to do, well, a lot of us are down to do the Clown Half Marathon. Something I've done before, and it's kind of, I've said this to Kay before, I kind of switch into Christmas mode once it's done. I never stop running for December. I'm normally running every day in December because I take on this Advent running challenge, which kind of helped me when I got into running. But I kind of switch off from the big events, from planning. I actually have 2 weeks off from the whole do running thing at Christmas as well. Whilst we run up to, we have a break between Christmas and New Year, which is nice. It's just nice to take that step back. Of course, it takes a lot of effort and commitment. Last year, I continued doing DOdaily, which I plan to do this year. Although this year Christmas and New Year doesn't fall on a weekday, so I do get a little break in that sense. So looking forward to all of that. Looking forward to using it to drive content as well, and really, really enjoy it. Like I said, if you've got any questions, please pop them in. Any comments on any videos, any social media you see throughout the week. Please email des@dorunning.org.uk if you'd rather sort of keep it anonymous. I don't have to stick your name to it. You don't have to get involved. But if there's something you just want my opinion on, something you want me to discuss, if there's something, a really deep-rooted issue, I've done it before. We've spoke about racism and we've spoke about sort of men's behaviour to women, real deep stuff. I'm quite happy to sort of fill an episode with that, and invite people in. So if anyone's got any ideas, please sort of email me. I'm really happy to go with it. As ever, what we'll do is look to finish with a throwback question. This weekend, I'm actually volunteering. I'm actually going to be the run director at Park Run. You'd have heard me speak about Park Run a lot through DOdaily, something I really, really enjoy. Free timed 5K event, run on a Saturday morning in most parks in the UK these days. There's hundreds of them. where people can go and run, get time. You can walk, you can spectate, you can volunteer. I always talk about giving things back as well. So every so often we like to volunteer. And what we've done this week through the running club is actually fill all the volunteer roles. Do running. It's called a volunteer takeover. So we'll be doing that. I'll be the run director again, absolutely getting out of my comfort zone. Whilst I'm doing it here, I'm not stopping. I want to keep doing stuff, keep sort of putting myself out there, helping myself develop in the way I sort of publicly speak, whilst I'm doing it into a camera. I want to do it in front of hundreds of people as well. So really looking forward to that. And I talk about giving back down to, and how much we can get from that. So it's a really important thing to do. I'll have sort of 14, 15 of the Do Running guys sort of alongside me as well, and they'll be doing their bit. So I thought a great throwback question, not just at Park Run, but what do you volunteer to do? What is it that makes you feel great? Volunteering's uplifting. It can get you out of a bit of a slump when you're not feeling great. What volunteer roles have you taken up in the past? Have you volunteered for anything coming up? Which ones do you enjoy the most? It could be volunteering to support other races. It could be volunteering at the local community centre. Helping the old. That's hard to say. Helping the elderly. Doing things in COVID. Lots of people was really supportive of those around them in COVID. So just again, I'd love to sort of get ideas on that. I'd love to get some feedback on what people are thinking. Kay said, that's a great throwback question. Thanks for that comment. Really appreciate that. But yeah, just love to know what people do. Just might give us more ideas. We're doing, I think, a fundraiser again on Sunday. I said there we're volunteering to run on a treadmill, and the guys are getting involved in that as well. So it's going to be an epic do running weekend. Probably told you most of it now. I was going to save that till Wake Up to Walk, which of course is the final episode of this week. I'll be back on that Robin Hood way. It's getting really, really tricky now, but really, really enjoying it, really sort of getting stuck in. We've got about 20 miles to go. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be looking to finish it off. And again, an accountable challenge to complete. I'll be really, really pleased with that. I'll be absolutely sort of over the moon I've done it. It'll be, I said on a Friday episode a couple of weeks ago, it'll be something to look back on and say, I did that throughout the lighter months of 2021. So, I'll be out talking about all the benefits of getting up early, like I'm an expert. I've already said I really struggle, but because I've made that sort of commitment on Friday, I do it every Friday morning, and I definitely do feel the benefits. So I've been doing it for 18 months now, so I think I can talk about the benefits of what it does for me. Again, I can reflect on the week. It's been a really good week on DOdaily. I've really enjoyed the episodes and what I put out. Managed to sort of sharpen the message up a little bit in places, and that's something I'm sort of hypercritical on myself about. But that's the way I am. That's the way I tick. People will say lay off yourself, but again, with all these challenges, it's just about sort of trying to do what we can to stay on top of things, isn't it? Try to be really positive, guys. Try and be enthusiastic about the things you do, and when you are, it's fantastic. I've just touched back on that 5K from Dawn again. The reason she's done that is because she's willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to do well, and when you've got that kind of desire within you, that's all that matters. If you're positive and enthusiastic about it, the results will come. I know this is not the finished article. Like I say, whilst I'm pleased with this week, there's lots of room for improvement, but I'll keep putting myself out there, whether it's this Park Run, doing 10K uncomfortably on a treadmill outside the city ground, whatever it takes, to feel great, to feel good about the things we do and make a difference. And that's all I'm trying to do for myself and for those around me. So thanks for watching. Feels like the start of the wind up of the week. Love the Friday morning. I'll be back for that. So until then, have a great evening. Of course, post your comments. Please give us a thumbs up, like, share. If you share it, people will subscribe to it. You'll get me to that 200. Feeling absolutely fantastic, guys. Thanks for watching. Just doing it.